let's keep in touch, and maybe we can do the part 2 of this episode.
In Nairobi would be great.
That would be so cool.
Podcast 2.0 in Nairobi.
This was me and my good friend Cynthia when we met for the first time in Florida. You might remember her from the episode this was taken from. She's a lawyer, a couchsurfing ambassador, and a big-time traveler. We got along so well that we ended up our meeting in Florida with talking about going on a trip together, maybe to Kenya. Fast forward, just 4.5 months, we met again on the other side of the planet.
Are we talking 2.0?
Pulitzer Prize-winning line.
Award-winning material.
Absolutely.
So basically, Cynthia, we're not in Nairobi. We're in Dubai.
I think it's a different continent.
Yeah. We were talking in Florida about doing a 2.0 podcast.
Why, yes.
What did we call it? 2.0 in Nairobi, or
2.0.
podcast 2.0. Yeah, was something like that.
Yeah.
And we were actually talking about going to Nairobi and Kenya and Uganda, being serious about it. And then you came up with this, well, there's a cruise, might be interesting. It goes from Dubai to Cape Town, blah, blah, blah.
It's Africa, just the coastline.
Yeah. And so we both booked it, and it never happened.
It didn't.
It didn't.
Yes, we booked a cruise going from Dubai to Cape Town via the Seychelles, Réunion, Madagascar, and a few other places. All in all, a cool cruise. But then the Omicron variant of the coronavirus was discovered in South Africa. It didn't come from there. The South African scientists were just the first to find it. I guess they were just smarter than in other countries. Nevertheless, the whole southern part of Africa was hit by travel restrictions, and we had a very good feeling that that would affect our cruise. But Norwegian Cruise Line didn't say anything about this. They were silent. Even though we heard several rumors of changes and even a cancellation, but nothing from NCL. They didn't even change it on their website. And just for fun, I tried calling them one day to see if they were still selling it. And they were, even though it was not going to happen. Then when I was on my flight to Dubai a few days before departure, I finally got an email saying that it was cancelled. I did get my money back, even a 25% discount on my next cruise, but still, they could have told us a long time before.
So I will tell you a funny story, because today I called my office, and my staff, particularly one of them, she's a lovely, warm Cuban human being. She's always very concerned about me. And so she says to me, she goes, when you leave Dubai, are you traveling alone? Because, there's various countries around here that not particularly safe for an American lawyer to travel. Blonde lawyer. Yeah. And I said, why, yes. I told them about you and that you had interviewed me in August for your radio. Yeah. And that there were several other EPSers, and I explained what EPS is, that's every passport stamp, and that there are several other EPSers who are here, and I'm in communication with them and talking about where to go because we can't go on this cruise, canceled all. So I said, there's quite a bit of logistics where I'm kind of coordinating these other people, and it's like 4 people, and who wants to go where and what's everybody's schedules. And I said, but, we're all in the same boat. And so, we'll figure it out. And my staffer said, well, you're not in the boat. Isn't that the problem? You cannot make this stuff up.
Oh, no. Are you planning on going into stand-up comedy?
I absolutely am. As soon as I retire from law, when I'm 94, I won't care if people think I'm funny if I'm 94, right?
I'm going to add some...
There should be drums in there. There should be.
So we're all in the same boat.
We're all in the same boat.
I might use it.
I think it's that good.
It's that good.
This is the Radio Vagabond Podcast.
This episode is brought to you in part by Hotels25.com. It's a website that helps you find the best prices on hotels and guest houses and hostels around the world in one simple search.
hotels25.com.
Cynthia was also on her way to Dubai, and we ended up spending a few weeks there, and even spent several days going to the World Expo that was held in Dubai at the time. At the same time, we were discussing, where should we go? We should go somewhere. We were actually seconds away from booking a flight to Kenya and actually doing the 2.0 in Nairobi. But then Cynthia said, hey, why don't we go to Saudi Arabia? And so we did. But before we get there, we had to go through a very stressful day in Dubai airport. I'm in the Dubai airport about to check in for my flight to Saudi Arabia, and I've been in this line for an hour and 15 minutes. It's now 9:13. The flight is at 10:25, and it says on the screen that the check-in closes 60 minutes before departure. So that gives me another 12 minutes for this line to be done, and there are people behind me as well. I wonder what they'll do if we don't. We're not able to check in 60 minutes before the flight. We asked some of the staff, will we be able to catch the flight? And the only answer we got was, we will try. So they will try. Yeah, exciting.
Yeah, it was great that there were 3 different lines and one was shorter, so we took the shortest line. That seemed totally logical to me. Turns out that was only for Saudi nationals.
It might have said that in writing in Arabic letters. I don't even remember.
I think there were 3 signs above the 3 counters, and they all looked identical. I think we looked at it a second after we moved.
So we switched line, and then we hardly moved.
Yeah, we were in the longest of the 3 lines, and we stood in that line for a ridiculous 2.5 hours. It didn't appear to move hardly at all.
And right now, this second, it's 9:25, and the flight is 10:25, so exactly in 1 hour, and the sign says the check-in closes an hour before. I thought we had time for breakfast. But it was we were in Dubai when we were going through all the process. So obviously we needed a COVID test. We needed to register the visa and the COVID test. And then we had to download a special app where they could monitor where we were.
Oh, yes, the dreaded QR Health Identifier app. Yuck.
Yeah, and it was something that we ended up using when we were walking into a mall or many places. They had to scan the QR code so they knew where we were.
I thought they were very thorough about it. Almost every place we went into, other than the teeniest little cafe, was asking.
Yeah, and you had a bit of issue with yours?
Yeah, shockingly, because I didn't have a local phone number. Mine didn't work for 4 days, whereas yours did. I did end up using my United States vaccine card, but it doesn't have a QR code. Or I simply showed the app, even though it wasn't working, and each time the guys let me through. So I got lucky. I was not denied entry. Oddly, on the 4th day, a security guard, wherever we were at the mall or something, takes my phone from me, and he fooled around. He clicked this, he clicked that, he moved it around a little bit, and he handed it back to me, and voila, it worked.
Sure the flight is delayed? Otherwise they close the gate in 5 minutes. I got checked in, I got my boarding pass, but you were still there.
Yeah, the process for applying to go into Saudi took me 9.5 hours the day before we flew, so all the various steps that we had to undergo were extensive, and I had done my registration, and I had printed it. Unfortunately, at the check-in gate, the gate agent said it wasn't right, that there was no QR code on it.
Okay, now it's 10 o'clock, and I'm still at the check-in counter. I got my my boarding pass. Now Cynthia's got hers. You got your boarding pass?
Yep.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
I didn't know there was another step to the ones that I had done. So it was a very tense moment at the airport as I did the final step there at the check-in counter. After standing in the silly line for 2.5 hours, I'm at the front, and I think I still may not get to Saudi.
And then it was so weird at the check-in counter. They couldn't really tell us if the flight was delayed. They said, maybe it is, maybe it's not. But you would think that somebody would call them. They could pick up the phone or say, is it delayed? Or they would call from the gate saying, just so that you know the flight is delayed. But no.
In most European and U.S. airports, there's a big sign that says on every, whatever they call those big boards, it'll say flight delayed by X amount of time, and surely they could communicate that, but definitely did not happen at Saudi.
And no, but and this was in Dubai airport. It's not a third world country.
No, we later learned, though, that it was the particular company that we were flying on. We were flying on Fly Dubai, I believe, on that leg.
Oh, Fly a Deal, wasn't it?
Fly a Deal, that was what it was.
It wasn't that big a deal.
It was definitely not a deal. The one-way flight was almost $370,
Yeah.
and sometimes they run super good specials.
Yeah. But definitely you would think that somebody would have called the check-in people so that they could inform, because we were getting stressed and we weren't the only ones, and there were even somebody behind us.
The line continued to expand much past the time we were there. And then, of course, we had to run through the airport, and we got to the 10:30 flight. We got to the gate at exactly 10:29.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ضيوفنا الكرام، أسعد الله صباحكم بكل خير. نيابة عن قائد الطائرة كابتن يانس باقي الملاحي، أرحب بكم على متن طيران.
And then on the airplane, you were upgraded, right?
I was. I got lucky because they had a seat in the ladies-only row, and, well, they needed to fill that seat. Obviously, many women prefer not to travel touching male passengers, and the same from the male to the female passenger. So I got put in this amazing row with a mom and 4 daughters, and I actually filled up the row that way, and they were super sweet to me.
Make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened. Your tray table is stowed. Mobile devices are
As soon as I stopped, I had to try and get my bag up and into the bin, and so they helped me, and then the gal sitting next to me spoke very good English, and so she was sharing with me all these travel tips, where we should go, what we should do. And then the coolest thing that happened was, as is often true with flights, they keep them about the temperature of a meat locker, so it was crazy cold. And the mom could tell that I was cold. And she reaches into her bag and she pulls out this black wool blanket/coat. And she insists on wrapping it around me. I'm like, no, you should have it. She was a lot older than I am, and I didn't want her to be uncomfortable. But she insisted that I have it. And then the ladies literally wrapped me in it, like they didn't even let me put it on. They wrapped me in this thing, complete with the hood and everything. So I was just snuggled into this black wool thing, and it was so super comfy and super warm. And I kind of want to buy one if I could get one.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to King Khalid International Airport in Riyadh. The outside temperature is 19 degrees Celsius. We receive to please remain seated. Seatbelt fastened until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and seatbelt sign has been switched off.
Anyways, it was a wonderful encounter with some Saudi women. Early in the trip, we literally hadn't even left the airport in Dubai when all of this happens. And, of course, later on, we would soon find out that all the Saudi people are so warm and welcoming. They're so polite, and they so enjoy meeting foreigners and are genuinely interested in helping other human beings.
But we ended up taking off, and we were delayed, and the pilot apologized a couple of times and gave some kind of lame excuse.
Oh, super lame excuse. As we boarded the flight, we were told the flight was running late, but it took off an hour and a half late. And so the pilot comes on the loudspeaker and he says, not just once, but twice, he says, "We are delayed 15 minutes as a passenger forgot a bag at security. It is out of our control." So I don't know how a bag could have done that. And of course, it wasn't just 15 minutes. It was, much more time, about an hour and a half.
But the main thing was that we did manage to catch the flight, and we then arrived to Saudi Arabia.
My name's Bond.
Radio Vagabond.
Yes, we finally made it to Saudi Arabia. And you made it to a brand new season of the Radio Vagabond and a new year with a lot of stuff coming up in the future. But we start in Saudi Arabia, or KSA, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, as it's officially called. Join us as we explore the stunning landscapes, rich culture, and fascinating history of KSA. From the towering sand dunes, where we get stuck many times, to the vibrant cities of Riyadh and Jeddah, and literally to the edge of the world. I'll take you on a journey driving more than 4,000 kilometers through one of the most misunderstood and least visited countries in the world. Along the way, we will meet some locals and experts who will share their insights and experiences and delve into the customs, traditions, and daily life of the Saudi people. So buckle up and come along for a ride as we discover the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
So we made it to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm here on the street with my good travel companion, Cynthia. Cynthia, we walked down to the metro.
Yes, it was a lovely walk through a residential neighborhood to the metro, the brand new metro.
This city has one of the newest metros, and I actually, when I booked it, I asked the Airbnb host, is it close to a metro station? And he just wrote, yeah, the metro station is really close. What he forgot to tell me was that it isn't open. And then you wrote to him as well?
Exactly. And I said, are any of the metros working? And he said, no, not really.
So now we're waiting for an Uber, and here he is. Yeah.
Since we were there, the metro in Riyadh should be running, or at least most of it. It will have 6 lines that serve the city and its suburbs, and it's designed to help avoid traffic jams and improve mobility in the city. The Riyadh metro has a length of 176 kilometers, that's 109 miles, and serves 85 stations. It's fully automated and features state-of-the-art trains and stations, and is equipped with advanced security and safety systems. The metro system is also accessible for people with disabilities, and then it's eco-friendly. The stations come with solar cells that will contribute to 20% of the entire station's energy. The service, once up and running, will contribute to a decrease of nearly 250,000 cars journeys a day, thereby reducing the city's fuel requirements of 400,000 liters of gas. A project like that isn't cheap. Around $22.5 billion US, or close to 21 billion euros, but that's possible when money's not an issue. It's all part of Saudi Arabia's 2030 plan, also known as Vision 2030. It was launched in April 2016 by the Saudi Arabian government as a program aimed at transforming the country into not being so dependent on oil export in the future. Here are some of the key goals of their plan. It aims to reduce the country's reliance on oil export and encourage the growth of non-oil sectors such as manufacturing, tourism, and small and medium enterprises. The plan aims to create more than 3 million new jobs for Saudi citizens by 2030. It also aims to improve the quality of life for Saudi citizens by investing in education, healthcare, and cultural initiatives. It includes investment in transportation, like the metro system in Riyadh, energy, water, and telecommunications infrastructure to support economic growth and development. It aims to reduce the country's carbon footprint and increase its use of renewable energy sources. And then the big one for somebody like me. Saudi Arabia began welcoming tourists in September 2019, also as a part of the 2030 plan. Tourism is now seen as a key growth sector in Saudi Arabia. It can generate significant economic benefits, including jobs, tax revenues, and foreign exchange earnings. By attracting more tourists, Saudi Arabia hopes to diversify its economy and again reduce its reliance on oil exports. It's also in the plan that tourism can contribute to cultural exchange and understanding between different countries and regions. They feel that by welcoming visitors from around the world, Saudi Arabia can promote its culture and traditions and learn from other cultures. Overall, the decision to open up to tourists is a part of Saudi Arabia's broader efforts to transform itself into a more diversified and innovative economy and to create a more prosperous and dynamic society. To transform Saudi Arabia into a global hub for trade and commerce and to create a more prosperous and dynamic society. Yeah, a lot of stuff is going on in Saudi Arabia right now. I saw a young guy with a t-shirt where it says, "Change in progress." It sure is.
Have you ever wondered what the places in this podcast actually look like? I have. So, I started following the Radio Vagabond on Instagram, simply by searching Radio Vagabond.
Gotta keep moving.
To see Saudi Arabia, a car is a must. So the next day we picked up a rental car for the next 10 days at a place called Hanko at Riyadh Airport. It was $31 or euros per day, so definitely not too bad. Then we drove about an hour from Riyadh to the Al Dana Desert. We came here to drive quad bikes in the famous and dramatic red sand dunes.
He's got 3 different sizes. The small ones are brand new. You see, we got plastic on them.
Okay.
And it's 50 for an hour.
That's interesting because the first dude was 80, so 50 sounds much cheaper to me.
And the huge one is 150.
After talking to a couple of vendors and doing a bit of bargaining for a 1-hour rental, we rented a quad bike each.
I'm on a quad bike.
The sand dunes are formed from fine, red sand that has been blown by the wind over years, creating towering mounds that can reach up to 100 feet, about 30 meters in height. The terrain is rough and rugged, with steep inclines and sudden drops that can be challenging to navigate. Except for when we got stuck, it was really fun.
You got yourself unstuck?
I hear them, okay.
Huh. Gas. Give it some gas while you're doing.
When the hour was up, we were at the far end of the sand dunes, looking for a route back and trying to get Cynthia unstuck again, when the vendor came out trying to find us and show us the way back. After emptying our shoes from sand, and there was a lot, it was around 3 p.m. and we started the drive back to Riyadh because Ali, one of Cynthia's couchsurfing friends, was leading a walking tour and we wanted to join in. But that didn't go as planned. I'll tell you more in a minute, but first let's have some facts about the capital of Saudi Arabia.
And now, facts about where we are.
Riyadh is the capital city of Saudi Arabia, and it's home to over 7 million people. The city was founded in the early 18th century and has a rich history that can be seen in the many historical landmarks and museums scattered throughout the city. The Masmak Fortress, a historical castle, is located in the heart of the city and played a crucial role in the founding of the modern-day Saudi Arabia, and it's a popular tourist attraction. The city is known for vibrant nightlife and has a thriving arts and cultural scene with numerous galleries, theaters, and music venues to explore. Riyadh is also home to some of the world's most luxurious and exclusive hotels, including the Ritz-Carlton and the Four Seasons. No, we didn't stay there. The city is also home to many world-class shopping malls, including the Kingdom Center, which features a rooftop sky bridge that offers a panoramic view of the city. Riyadh has a number of world-class sports facilities, including the King Fahd International Stadium, which is one of the largest football stadiums in the world. It seats over 75,000 people. One that could be put in good use if they win the bid to host the 2030 FIFA World Cup.
And that was Facts About Where We Are.
As mentioned, we started driving back to Riyadh at 3 p.m. and got to the edge of the city just in time for the glorious rush hour.
Exit the roundabout onto Prince Mohammed ibn Saud ibn Abdulaziz Road.
One of the main challenges driving during rush hour in Riyadh is that there are so many cars not always sticking to their lanes.
Continue on Prince Mohammed ibn Saud ibn Abdulaziz Road for 2 kilometers.
It's definitely not for the faint at heart and a challenging experience, especially for those who are not used to heavy traffic or driving in busy cities. We were already getting late for our appointment for the walking tour with Ali, and then we had another challenge, finding a place to park.
If travel is your passion and you want escapism while still upholding your work and family responsibilities, you can travel vicariously from the comfort of your own home. This is the Radio Vagabond Podcast.
We finally did find one and met for a quick chat with Ali, just for a few minutes.
How are you doing?
We're okay.
How was your trip?
Oh,
How was it?
long.
Yes.
We didn't think it would take us like 3 hours to meet up with you.
Your timing with the...
We're so sorry that we're late.
It's totally fine. Where is your car? This is the most important question now.
So we're in that parking lot
That I sent. So at the end of this road.
Yeah.
Then we strolled the exterior of the Palace Museum, Fort and original city gate, and ended up at the Nab Al Riyadh, an outdoor courtyard area with coffee shops, live music, and a chalk art artist. It was a peaceful and pleasant spot to end our day, and with a local performer in the background and the sun setting over Riyadh, we sat down and reflected on an adventurous day.
We're sitting at a square, Nab Al Riyadh, and somebody's playing a guitar, and it is very beautiful here. I just had a cup of coffee. We're next to an old palace. And today, Cynthia and I, we've been quad biking. What was your main takeaway from that experience?
It was awesome.
Somehow I knew you were going to say that. Even though we got stuck in the sand with this fine sand with these huge machines, and we got really stuck.
Yeah, but if you're going to do it right.
But we came out to this place, red sand dunes, and it's around 80, 90 kilometers south of Riyadh. It took about an hour. And then we had an appointment to meet someone this afternoon, and we thought it would take more or less an hour to get back, but then it was heavy traffic. So fast forward 2.5 hours, we made it here, and we barely got to say hi before they had to move on to a restaurant, and we couldn't take part in that. But yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done the heavy traffic, but here we are, all part of a learning experience.
How much sand did you take out of your shoes?
Quite a lot. I think at least 3 pounds.
Yes, several kilos at least.
That's it for the first of several episodes from Saudi Arabia. In a few seconds, I'll tell you more about what's coming up on the Radio Vagabond, sponsored in part by Hotels25.com. I use it to find the best deals on hotels, hostels, and guest houses anywhere in the world. I use it because I like saving time and money. Hotels25.com.
Next week on the Radio Vagabond.
In the next one, we go to the edge of the world. Literally. We're heading to the edge of the world.
Edge of the world.
Edge of the world, and we're now on a dirt road. And just before we hit this dirt road, 2 camels were walking on the road. So, yeah, we're definitely off the grid now. Hear how that is going to go down. You'll get full travel episodes of the Radio Vagabond like this one on Tuesday. Let's call it Travel Tuesday. And then you'll get flashback episodes every Friday and the raw and uncut 10-minute diary entry from where I am right now every Saturday. But wait, there's more. Sometimes, not every week, you'll get a short extra version about the country we're covering in the travel episodes on Tuesdays. And this week, I got one for you. Having listened to this episode, you might think that I'm painting a rosy picture of Saudi Arabia. And yes, I did like it. But not everything is perfect. They still got some challenges in my eyes. So on Thursday, 2 days from now, I'll give you an episode that I call The Good and the Bad About Saudi Arabia. Here I'll share what I think is good about Saudi Arabia and also what I think is not so great. That's in 2 days. And now, here's a poem written by an AI.
The Radio Vagabond, Palais Beau, took a trip to Saudi Arabia with his friend, Cynthia. A couch-surfing ambassador and a big-time traveler, she calls herself Cynthia Glow, and she's quite the explorer. They caught a flight from Dubai, but not without a fight, and soon they found themselves exploring the city of Riyadh at night. Quad biking through the red sand dunes, they got stuck in the sand, but they had a lot of fun and made the most of their planned adventure, even if it didn't go quite as planned. But then they hit some traffic, causing them to arrive at Nabd Al Riyadh, an outdoor courtyard to their delight, where coffee shops, live music and chalk art artists ignite their senses and keep them entertained until the morning light. In the next episode of this podcast, they set out to see the edge of the world, where they meet many camels, wild and free. The Radio Vagabond continue to travel and explore this land of gold.
We will now be arriving at the end of this installment of the Radio Vagabond. Please remember all your belongings when you leave the episode.
Thank you for having me in your ears. If you like what you hear, please tell a friend. My name is Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.
Radio Vagabond.
Produced by RadioGuru.co.uk.